you believe it? Over 2 years ago, was always about what is beautiful and incredible about this beautiful island of the gods called Bali, and why we think that it's one of the best places on earth. And all the interviews that we've done between now and then have always given you an insight into why that is the case, through those who have businesses here, through those who are traveling here, and of course from those who live here. So it gives me no greater pleasure than to welcome a dear friend, King of Kerambitan, which is the area of Tabanan, Erawan. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And look, maybe just to start us off, people don't know you, right? So maybe in your own words, maybe something of your background, maybe the time in Japan or something, that people can know, maybe to get to know you a little bit.
Thank you. Well, of course, many people, they don't know us. But then when we are in the traditional way, and also they knows my name, then they realize. But first of all, thank you very much for this time. We have time to interview, and I explain about who I am, or
yeah, we would love to know.
Thank you.
About you, whatever you feel comfortable to share.
I'm the 9th generation of one of the royal family in Bali, and from Tabanan, Kerambitan Tabanan, and then we are since 1675, and now we have a kingdom period before 1945. And now we are republic, so it's no more kingdom in Bali, and it is only traditional way. Yes, and we also try to preserve our culture and our tradition that we show to the people that is still exists. And Bali itself, it is not only beach or sand or sun, but also we have a culture. So this is the hard part, how we preserve our culture. Because culture and our unique tradition, it is very unique and very is obligation for us. Yeah. And so I'm here with with the family, and we have to try to struggling our life to preserve the culture and the tradition. And especially for us, it is very, very old tradition. That's a little bit.
Thank you. And with these microphones, I'm going to ask you to put it, that's beautiful, right in there. Okay, thank you so much. So we're talking about preserving the culture of Bali. And one of the things which I love about Bali, right, so I was born in London, is there's 5 religions or more that are in Bali. Now, maybe for those of you watching, so London, New York, some great places around the world. But what we find in some of these places is that we have all the different cultures, but they live separately, and their lives are separated to a certain extent. One of the magical things about Bali is that these 5 religions are all respected. They all have their own public holidays. It's very difficult when you're an entrepreneur. You've got to make sure that all your staff are not the same religion. Otherwise, it gets difficult when you're trying to go through holidays. But that's one thing which I love about Bali, right? It's this preservation wholeheartedly of the culture. Now, for you, Erawan, what are some of the biggest challenges to preserving Bali's culture?
Well, for us, this is not so difficult because Bali already basic way of life for the Balinese. They have a concept, three concept. Trihita Karana means that we respect to the nature, horizontal and vertical, and Tatwamasi. Tatwamasi means I'm is yours, yours is mine. So all the foreigner, all the people outside from Bali, which has come to Bali, all is our family, our brother. This is our concept. That's why it is for us not so difficult. But then, for competition between the workers, let's say workers who work for villa or restaurant or something like that, it is very hard. Competitor with the Javanese from outside from Bali, because we have so many ceremony to preserve and to have a socialize among the people. And this is foreigner, they don't understand. And they said Balinese is very slow and they are very lazy. In fact, it is not. They are so hard work in their village. As a farmer, in the morning they went to the farmer. They go to the farm, to the rice field, and lunchtime they come back home, and then socialize with the banjar, with the people. And it takes time and need the time and also need fun to socialize. And of course, then it will be influence their job because they always have a ceremony. But then, why we doing this? We, as I said, we respect the nature, we respect the tree, we respect the stone or whatever. With this, there is a spirit inside the tree, inside the stone. This is how we believe Skala and Niskala. Skala is like real things, like a house that you have to maintenance, cars or whatever that you can see. This is you need to maintenance. But Niskala, the unreal things like spirit, like a statue or whatever, and we need offerings. And in my palace, we need 250 offerings every day. So it is, it is like obligation that we have to offer our garden. We have a security garden. We have a compound, and that's why the tourists, they feel safe in Bali. They feel safe and they feel home in Bali, but they don't realize that how we hard to survive, how we hard to preserve this obligation. This is I have to announce the tourists, the newcomer to Bali. Well, this is Bali, and also we have three ways of life: karma, moksha, and reincarnation. So we believe so much with this three ways of life in Bali. So that's the people in Bali are very very thinking about how they behave. This is because we have that three ways of life.
Got it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, one of the things which I love, which you're talking about, right, is the national motto of Indonesia, the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika.
Right.
Which for those of you watching, loosely translated means unity in diversity. So unity in diversity. Now somebody like me loves this because my feeling is that we all have many different beautiful stories which maybe they separate us, but at our core we are the same, which then unites us. So what Bhinneka Tunggal Ika means to me is just a beautiful way to warmly welcome people of all cultures and faiths and connect on those things that make us human. We want to be happy, we want to be fulfilled in what we're doing, we want to be, understanding we're part of a great puzzle of life.
Right.
And we have a role to play in that. And we want to be connected to one another as well. So, I think my microphone may have gone off. So, back. Now my question to you would be, so moving forward for Bali, now what do you believe is important for Bali to move forward into the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Very interesting question. Well, like you mentioned, we have a Tunggal Bhinneka. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika means one unite among the religion, the believing in Indonesia. This is how our previous president, the first president, create this concept, philosophy, and for us, for Balinese, it is not so difficult because we have this concept already long time ago since our ancestors. But for Indonesia, we have 7,000 race, and also the how you say?
The languages?
The languages as well, yeah. So since the pandemic, this is very interesting how the government thinks and our people also, they getting realized that they have their own local genius actually, but they don't realize. And you are here now in Bali, especially in Bali, this is very good for them. You just make them up. Remember what they have the olden days, that they have a local genius. And this is in Bali. Well, if I talk about Bali, Indonesia, a lot of old tradition, and also the local, they have each local genius. But for Bali, it is starting since 5 years ago. But then pandemic make them more realize. And now if you see in every village, they have their own, we have a lontar in Bali. You know lontar? It's made by palm leaf. It's written Sanskrit. And that we have usada. Usada means the herbal medicine, traditional medicine, by leaf and by herb. And they start to open now. They start to open. They're doing it. They're making these traditional things, and then they use it. Even the food now, So the foreigner, they interesting, and then they try to use it even more than us, like a herbal and lotion. Then thanks God that we getting more understand now, back to the olden days. So for me, of course, pandemic is something that you don't know, which is when will be over or when they start. Offer and then start again with another things. We just, the only one thing that we can only pray, and try to be healthy to every village. And then, as I said before, and this is how we make tourists, make make Bali alive with the value of the tourists or visitor will come to Bali, and we hope it is no more mass tourism. I'm sorry, but this is I think it will be completely changed, and we prefer to have a high quality. The quality, not the quantity. So we hope this the government understand, and also will change the regulation about the immigration or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Picking up on what you're saying, one of the things which I've observed here, which I absolutely love, is this, before we mentioned about maybe there's mass tourism, and for sometimes there are people who are here in Bali, expats and so on, but they don't necessarily see each other because there's a lot of white noise going on. At the moment, what it feels like, which is one of the positives of this time, is that there's a lot of people here, local and expat, foreigner, who see each other and are able to work upon projects which uplift humanity, which uplift and support Bali and Indonesia as a whole. It's this working together. And just here with my brother Gil and brother Ichi here from Tropical Nomad as well, two people who are very interested, very committed to ensuring that the next 5 or 10 years, what we can create is something beautiful, powerful, and that quality that you spoke about, that ecotourism, that conscious tourism, that ability to understand that in this east of the world, Asia, Indonesia will be, I think in 15 years, the third largest economy in the world, according to, I think McKinsey, did that study. So there's a lot going on here. And to have this pattern interrupt, where you get to look at what you are doing, what we are doing, not only just here in Bali or Indonesia, but around the world, and we have a chance to reset and to dream as to what kind of future we want to create, right? So maybe in your own words, I know you work with Gil, and you've been working with foreigners as well on some incredible projects. How has that been for you? How has that felt for you?
Yeah, many times whenever I met bureaucracy, the government, I always suggest them to have a foreigner consultant. Without this, I don't think so. Because I know the government is always late to giving response with the situation especially now it's in pandemic condition. So I don't know. They don't know what they have to do unless if they have a consultant. I mean foreigner, yeah. So by advice by the foreigner, then I hope will be changed. If it is not, to be sorry, it's useless. Because if now, like the expat create something in Bali, but then it's only locally, then it will be faced to the government, and the government don't do anything. I mean, they cannot follow our activities. So then it's become useless. Now the immigration and the government, they have to talk, they have to meet how to give the solution for the foreigner who are willing to support, to give education, to give motivation to this situation. So this is very important. And I always talk to the government, always. Please, why don't you have a expert, consultant or something like, other country, they can have a few how to solve the problem and so on. Yeah.
One of the things, one of the many things that I really do enjoy about you is that you have this way of looking at things which is kind of global to me, right? It's big.
Right.
It's not local. It's both local on local level, but also global. And, so I understand that you spent some time in Japan growing up as well. So if I asked you, what did you learn from your time in Japan, what would that be?
Yeah. Well, where is Ichi? I like Japan very much because I used to live there for 2 years, and Japan is for me is a symbol of harmony between tradition and modern. And even though in Tokyo, for instance, and they are very, the way they giving respect, the way they greet you, it's still very tradition. But in Bali, for this time, we have revolution. I mean, the mindset. That's why I always said to the people, especially in the locals, act local, think global. I always said so. So you are farmer, and then you are farmer. It's act local, but you think global. I always said like that, and then I don't know. Some of them they understand, but some is not. And then for me, I was surprised, to be honest. Bali is Bali, good, yes, but some people in the village, they acting like, Western. They don't care, and then they just have a drink and drunk, something like that. These are totally different than in the city sometimes. That's what I see. So we hope by this pandemic, they're getting understand. They more realize what they have to do. Yeah.
Erawan, what I'm getting, thank you by the way, from our conversation, is this desire within you for government to come together, different departments, to come together to work on a unified solution to take Bali and undoubtedly Indonesia forward into this next period of time, post-COVID, let's call it that, right? Which, it's interesting because as a person who first came to Bali 20 years ago on a holiday and had a great time, right? And then coming back with my partner, my wife, and our kids. She was born in Jakarta, so our kids have got both Australian and Indonesian passports. Like I never thought or dreamed that I'll be sitting here next to somebody like yourself, right? Having this conversation, enjoying it, and getting to know you just a little bit more. Now, there may be some people here who kind of wonder, right? So, the life of a king, like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, what is a day? It's hard not to laugh with these things on, by the way. If I hyperventilate and drop, someone just come and pick me up, okay? But yeah, so again, for you, it's probably like every day you do this. It's no big deal. But to some people watching, they're probably wondering, like, what does a king do? So maybe take us through part of an average day for you. What would that kind of day be like?
My grandfather has 4 wives. My great-grandfather, my grandfather father has 17 wives.
Oh, 17?
17 wives.
It's quite a number, everyone.
So, for me, one is more than enough. So, and well, I live behind the walls. I remember my grandmother, the 4th wife from my grandfather. She always said, "Don't go outside." So mean outside of the palace. I said, "Why?" But on that time, I just, I don't need, because I don't need to go outside because the palace is big enough to play around, to running around the yard in the garden. And then until now, I don't know how to walk to the path, to the rice field, along the rice field, and I don't know how to walk. Because I always remember my grandmother never go out. And then once the bule, the tourists, I took them walking around to the rice field, and then I was falling down to the rice field. And because I cannot walking, the balance, I'm not balanced. I didn't get used to it. So, well, to be honest, I'm easy. I have an easy life before, as we have so many rice fields, so many land before, and then kind of easy life, and we have many staff, so so I don't have to worry. Because we are too spoiled, very spoiled, and I realized since I was in Japan that I have to live by my own in a small apartment. Then I realized what is life and who I am. That was about 1990. But before that, I don't realize. I really completely don't realize. So I said, I live behind the walls, and I never see what is happen outside. What is the people, how they suffer their life on that time. Because I know on 1960 to 1970 something, it is very hard life that time. The all Indonesia. So now I'm even more understand what is life, and that's why Gil always gave me advice, and how to, to face the life, how to do the business, how, I'm just learning. I'm just learning. And I said to myself, it's never late to learn. So every second, every day, I have to learn now. And I hope it is not too late. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Another one of the things that I really enjoy about you is that there's this term called servant leadership, right? So being a servant leader. And for me, this is what sums you up. So you spend so much time in your community, finding out what's going on, what problems they have, trying to find solutions, working with expats, foreigners, to bring in that joint collaboration, which again my brother Gil mentioned a few times. He introduced me to that, right? We came to your palace along with maybe another 20 or 30 expats, and I remember that particular day, that we went into other areas of Tabanan and the surrounding areas to talk to the local people, to find out what challenges they were having and perhaps how we could help to solve them. And again, it's this Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, it's this coming together to solve problems that we all face in a way of collaboration without ego, right? So, it's interesting that you said that as a young person, that you didn't want to go out, couldn't go out past the wall, right? You're like, I'm going to stay here. And your parents say, Erawan, do not go outside the wall, right? And then as you said, you went to Japan, and there you learned many things, and you it's like something clicked. And when you came back here, then you realized that I must live outside of the walls in many ways, to understand what's going on, to find the solutions, to bring people together, to solve these things, to act local and think global.
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge you for that, my brother. It's a very powerful thing that shouldn't be taken for granted. I also love the fact that you said that, it's never too old to learn, right? Which, most of the people, the older we get, the more we don't want to learn anymore, right? We just get stuck in our pattern, and that's it. But you've embracing this, what can I learn, and how can that help people? So I absolutely love that. So now, before we discussed a little bit, there's some really exciting news for Bali. There's an infrastructure project that's coming. Would you mind sharing some details about that?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Gil. You teach me a lot. And before, if I remember, and I need to remind us in the palace, and then the people, before the people come to the palace to eat, because only palace has a rice. So many people come to the palace and get the rice. They need food. And for us, it's very easy to call the people, please come to the palace and please make the garden and whatever. And they are coming. But then after Republic, and then land reform happens, it was confusing government. But then Gil came to me, and then giving the food to the people. What is this? I mean, this is a kind of a karma, kind of a destiny that I have to meet Gil, and Gil support us with the food, just give the idea, why don't you go with the SOS, why don't you go with this. And the people are very happy. And my name is popular among the people. in Kerambitan especially. When is next? When is that? And also for myself, I don't know why, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see the people are happy, and I hope they need it. And then, of course, the other hand that I met also some investor, some some people that good people, and giving me a chance to do the business in Bali, and also this from Gil. But then the government knows about this, and then some mayors, they already smell it. They already knows about this. Maybe for me, this is this man has some friends, and then step by step, they also invite me for a very, very important meeting, and one of them is, if I can tell you, Bali will have highway to from Denpasar, from Badung, exactly from Badung to west part of Bali, to the harbor. This will be huge highway, and we need many infrastructure, like maybe Disneyland, what they said, and even casino of the record actually, but it's casino online. So many will be happen in the coming. In the future, they will start June. This highway. So it's many big opportunities, and even only 2 hours, you go to East Java already. Within 2 hours, you go to East Java, and this is very nice, very good chance for investor, even to the east of Java. And east of Java is big. It's a lot of opportunities to make factory or whatever. Yeah, I think so.
Wonderful. And so now we'll add your email address on the flyer, on the Facebook event, and so on. So if you want to reach out to Erawan, you can via email. If you're interested in knowing anything else about that opportunity to work together in Bali from a financial point of view as well. So we'll leave that there. And a question that comes up for me is that, again, today we're talking a lot about this, bringing people together and working on some incredible projects. So maybe if there are, some people perhaps in the audience, or maybe they're here watching now, is there anything else that you would like to see happen in Bali? Maybe a dream of yours that maybe hasn't been spoken about yet, or maybe it's in the pipeline outside of the road. So is there any dream that you would love to see happen in the future?
Thank you. Well, for me, I want Bali to be clean and back to, let's say, 20 years ago. There's not so much traffic, and I think this is not possible. But then, how we create? I'm always dream that Bali as a home living, or living for the tourists, or expat. So only for living, not for object, for the touristic area. So for living, like it's a like a house, your house in Bali. But your office may be in Java or in Singapore or whatever. But you're living, you live in Bali for your living. And this is my dream that, of course, we still have income from the tourists, but also not so many tourists came to Bali. I mean, a mass tourism, something like that. The high quality, yeah? More than the quality than the quantity. Yeah, that's I dream about that.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And look, so what we'll do, we'll take a few questions. Now, if you do have a question, what I would suggest is that you keep it short and very clear. Now, if you raise your hand, we'll bring Itchy and Bella, maybe if you have the other microphone, and we can hand it to you. With these microphones, just direct it at your mouth. Sounds crazy, I know. I've seen it. Some weeks people are like talking like over here and wonder why it can't be heard. So if you have any questions, this might be the first time for some of you to speak to a king. Feel free. So please, raise your hand, and then Itchy or Bella can get the microphone to you.
Hi, nice meeting you.
Nice
I have a business partner. He's Balinese, and we've been working for 4 years, and we've been working in Munduk, north of Bali. So north of Bali have very strong tradition. So basically, I was raised as a Buddhist. So when we have like ceremony, we try to compromise. Sometimes they have to kill the bird and kill in the friends to serve to God. But my business partner turned to half Hindu and half Buddhist. So it's like modern. It's like accepting culture, different culture. But we're having a hard time how the village can understand the ceremony. We have ceremony every 6 months without killing the chicken. And just like, and I wonder how can I explain to them, and how can I change those as a foreigner that comes to the village and try to explain and expand the belief and join. Yeah.
All right. So just to reframe, you got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Great question. Okay. Over to you, Erawan. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can answer that question, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Many people, many tourists especially, they complain about that. We understand, but also you need to understand that when we have a sacrifice, purification ceremony, that means also sacrifice the chicken, and sometimes also the dogs or whatever. That is before we kill the dogs or chicken, we pray. We pray. So we pray that, as I told you before, as I mentioned you before, we believe karma, moksha, and reincarnation. So before we kill the chicken, so we pray, and then what is the mantra is to have a better reincarnation for the chicken. So now we have to kill the chicken, and then before we kill, and then we pray that the chicken maybe in the reincarnation will be better life. So we have this mantra before we do the sacrifice ceremony. So we believe this. And why are we doing this? Because we believe there is a spirit that need certain of this, need the blood of these animals. And otherwise, if we cannot fulfill this ceremony, then it will disturb the human, the Balinese or the people in Bali. So then we replace to kill the chicken. We need the blood to give the offerings, and that chicken is not all chicken. We have a specification of the chicken, white, black, or. But before we do this, we pray for better life when the belief in the reincarnation. That's the way our tradition. And I know, of course, this is not a religion, but this is a tradition. Yeah. So the tradition between each village, sometimes they have a different tradition. That I can explain to you. Thank you. I hope you no more complain. But it is reincarnation. Thank you.
Thank you, Erawan. Thank you for the question, Laika. Most appreciated. Next question, yes.
Hello. Closer? Okay. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for your sharing with us your stories and your answers. It was really interesting to listen to. And my question is regarding the tourism and the future of Bali. So before the COVID, it was one of the most popular tourist destinations, and there are millions of people coming. Now we see that almost nobody's coming, and of course the island will open some year, but what if the world as we knew it before will not come back, and there will be some travel restrictions, like, I don't know, vaccination or passports, special things or whatever, and in this case Bali will not see as many tourists as before. So how do you think how we will transform the economy of the island, and what will happen with the hotels which are closed now, with the restaurants which are closed, and with thousands or I don't know, hundreds, thousands of people working in the tourism area?
Yeah. Well, that's very difficult question. But from my side, from my private opinion, also my wish that the government, they have to do collaboration among department, and the expat or the tourists who are locked down in Bali, I think we call it immigrant in Bali, but they can invite their family to Bali. They invite their family to Bali and stay with them. So this is one of the solution. But of course the government have to coordination with the other department, because I think Bali is cannot be the same like the other province in Indonesia, because in other island like Sumatra, Sulawesi, Kalimantan, they have a mining, but in Bali we don't have this. So we have only tourists, and how we create a tourist, then maybe in the short term they can invite their family come to Bali. And this is, I don't know, the other way. Because every country they lock down and they cannot come to Bali. But then if the family can invite their family in other country, come to Bali and stay in Bali, and this is, I think, will be better. So the hotel, I don't know, it can be like just for visit, for resort, not to stay. I think so.
And building, just a secondary part to that answer. So this is what we've spoken about privately as well. I'm sure Erawan won't mind if I share it with you. Is that, so what people, we keep mentioning Gil and Ichi tonight, but it's okay. They're great people. I love them. They are indeed my brothers, so it's all good. So what we have happening right now in Bali is quite extraordinary. We have a number of expats which are either moved here or living here in Bali. Now these are expats who have significant experience in a multitude of different areas. So one particular friend, for example, is repurposing hotels into another business opportunity. Okay, that's happening. We have parts of, there are 3 incubators out of Tropical Nomad alone, actually, multi-millions of dollars, which are based here in Bali, which are looking for ways to invest in Bali for the future. What we also have is this, he's been on the show before, so I can mention his name. His name is Wahyu Taufik. He's 28 years old, probably one of the most complete, inspiring, very clever 28-year-olds which I've ever met. He has a multitude of different companies. Now, what I love about what he's doing is it's about the next generation. Now, when I say next generation, I am referring predominantly, but not only, about Indonesia as a whole to raise, right? But he has many different sides of business, lawyers, digital marketing, and so on. So the next generation is coming through. So what you have is an extraordinary time where you have Bali, which in many senses is looking for beyond tourism. What is it that Bali can do which doesn't necessarily involve tourists? Because right now you have to look at that, right? And there are ideas which are being put onto the table, ideas which are being executed as we speak, both locally and as a collaboration with certain expats and foreigners and so on. And then to the final piece, so as Erawan was saying earlier on, part of the genius, I believe, of Erawan is this understanding that it takes more than just yourself to build something far larger than the sum of its parts. So what he was recommending was, in certain situations, that certain foreigners which have a certain skill set can be recruited temporarily to build out certain business concepts and ideas here in Indonesia, right? Which, because again, as we know, Indonesia, the skilled labor force here is off the charts. So, hanging out with my friend Wahyu, one of the smartest guys I know, very sharp, right? Like, he's learning right now, he's putting himself through it. Is it like a law degree or something? Just putting himself through it. So this guy has just have this unlimited thirst for knowledge, but also to apply it, and he's doing that because he's built many companies already. So I think in there is just drawing together the different things that's happened tonight, and the private conversations that we've had between ourselves and a few people here have just been mentioned before. There's some extraordinary opportunities which are here in Indonesia, in Bali especially. So if you're here, you're part of the chosen few. No matter how you've got here, it's no coincidence, right? and places like Tropical Nomad, Tomorrow Group. There's a bunch of people, right, who are looking forward into the future and saying, well, how can we, work together to create something far larger than the sum of its parts that goes deep into the future, which is owned by Indonesia. All right, so I think that's just building on that, just from, I hope you didn't mind including some of our past conversations in there, mate. But I felt the call, Erawan. I felt it. Now, did you have a secondary question to that one or a follow-up? I noticed you're about to speak again.
No, actually, I just hold the microphone. But regarding your answer, yeah, so I think it's great that like the individuals and the certain groups, they figure out how to use their intellect, skills, and network to develop Bali and Indonesia as a whole. And it would be really interesting to talk to you after the event to know more about these people and these groups and to understand how it's possible to take part in it.
Thank you very much indeed for your question. And we'll take, are you okay for one or two more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Great. So we have Yana at the back and Bella or Ichi. Maybe if you can take some photos, that would be great if you haven't already. Just a quick little reminder. And then over to you, Yana.
I'll look at my phone because I got a few.
It's okay, we can't see you.
So, I'm working within the educational industry, and so far I've been talking to a lot of people that are focused on community education in here, as well as people that are related to education. And what I've faced is it's really hard to reach out to the government in order to be able to work with them, even if you got the resources and funding. It's not just the problem of Indonesia, so far what I got, because I've been talking to like NGOs that are sponsored by UN, that are in multiple countries already. So what I'd love to ask is, how's the situation looking right now in terms of getting it towards the progress, like the whole system of international exchange in terms of education, as well as the talents and businesses support here. For example, there's a lot of people, right, that got great ideas, but I see foreigners are coming here, setting up NGOs, or NGOs from other countries are acting here in order to support them. But it's really hard for these people to connect to the government and, make it all centralized and make it work together. And this is the same problem that I'm facing, kind of voluntarily researching on it, trying to set it up here with the help of international organizations. So I would love to work directly with Indonesia and get like the smartest people, to be funded and sponsored and get the government support. But unfortunately, like, what would be your advice, to who to connect to? What is the organization that's in charge of that? What is the progress looking like? International exchange. People would love to, go other places and study there. Easier access to international universities, professionals exchange and all that. Building up powerful teams.
So maybe just because I get what you're saying, but maybe just to re-clarify it and just say, Erawan, my question is, okay. And then they go from there. Yeah.
So my question is, on a government level, what is going on right now in terms of the support of international education, funding of the projects, which are either like international or local? And in case if somebody would love that support, what is the procedure for them to go through, no matter where they're from? Either it is a foreigner who lives here or a local person.
Yeah. Well, they have the how you say each department has how you say has a body to welcoming you to that body. For instance, if you are in the education, so you can come to the Departemen Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan. That's the government education. If you're in Bali, so means in province, in Denpasar. So I'm sure you will have the information about this. And of course, if you have the proposal, you need to bring your proposal, you can explain in Bahasa, then I think that's no problem. But I know it is a very the language. So maybe if you have the Bahasa proposal, then it's okay. But then you have to meet the right person. So not the you know. Yeah, I think that's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, my answer.
Yeah. So there's thank you, Erawan.
Yeah.
So there's a process, official process that you can go through. That knowing Yana as I do, I know she's been through part of that official process and maybe hasn't got the results that she was looking for from memory.
I didn't even get there.
There you go.
I didn't even go there.
Yeah. Well, then, you know what? Maybe that's a good place to start. And what we can do perhaps afterwards is maybe have a little bit of a chat.
Yeah.
And then we can help you to get those questions answered
Sure.
to a much better place for you, if that's okay, Yana. Right? Okay, now, so one more question behind. Great. But is that Brother Mason?
No, for him. For you, sorry.
Right, great.
Yeah, I want to take it back to tradition, because at the beginning you said the importance of keeping the Balinese tradition and the offerings for an expat or an immigrant that is now living here. How can I honour the tradition or the offerings? What can we do as people that want to kind of really embrace the Balinese culture and keep it going?
Nice. So just to, cause we couldn't quite hear you, but I heard you. So what my brother's saying is that, you know, he is all about embracing the tradition of Bali. Now he is a foreigner coming here. So what he would like to know is what is the best way that he can either learn, participate, or understand the culture into which he is voluntarily coming and happy about.
This is you can feel our culture. First you have to feel, but then if you are interested, then you can ask, what is this for? What is this? So you can ask. Then I'm sure they will explain to you what is the purpose of the ceremony. So they will tell you. But first, I want you to feel. Your feeling. If you're willing to if you're wondering, then you can ask. Because there are a lot of tradition that we have. Even in Bali, we have a different dialect, and also tradition. Among us in Bali, we have differences. Yeah.
You know, and to add to that, because I know what you're feeling, man. So when I first got here, still to this day, it's the same thing for me too, right? So what it is, what Erawan is saying is that, you know, like, you're a beautiful man, I know that. Feel it in your heart, right? So that is a feeling that when you go to a place, you just feel at home. Some people I know who have come here, they haven't felt it, and they've just wanted to get out, you know, and they've gone, you know. Others came here, had this instinctive feeling of like, oh, this feels like home. This feels like a place where I can stay, where I'm happy to be, and my soul is happy, my spirit is happy. So Balinese people, that there's so many different, like Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is one which I mentioned, which is Indonesian, right? Unity and diversity. But there's a Tri, you pronounce it for me? I love it. Yes, Tri Hita Karana, right? So there's a connection between the land, the spirit, and also prosperity. You know, so this is like a circle. And, you know, I'm still learning the stuff. It's been 4 years, right? And, but the first thing is that if you feel it, which I know you do, like, things, people, resources will appear. And you'll know which one to take in that moment. You'll know because you feel it already. So for me, it was, coming to a place like this, to, tropical nomad, right? Ichi, originally from Japan, right? Married to a beautiful Indonesian woman called Kuni. Now, through Ichi, I've learned much, because each celebration that comes in, I'm like, Ichi, like, what's this about? And he's like, well, Rob, this means X, Y, Z. I'm like, thanks, mate. But then even on the street, to complete strangers who I don't know, who don't know me, I'm like, well, I remember, I'll tell you a very quick story. I remember when I came here with this, I've been living in Sydney for 25 years prior, and I came with this, like, busy mentality, right? Got to go, got to move, got to do stuff, right? And I remember this one day where I had a meeting or something, and I was rushing from the get-go, because I knew I was behind. And my partner Marina would laugh at me because she knows that's kind of how I've been. So what happened was that I was zooming around on my bike, right? Zoom, 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 zoom. And I was trying to get every piece of time to save time, right? And then as a last bit to say, Rob, it's not going to happen, man. Just slow down, right? I turned this corner and I was greeted by, I didn't count them all, but maybe 1,000 people dressed in white all the way down the street that I had to get down. And I'm thinking, you know what, I'll just turn around and go a different way. So I turn around. By the time I'm turning around, now there's another couple of hundred coming this way. So I'm there going like, all right, I can't go forward. I can't go back. The sides are houses. I guess I'm just going to have to surrender to this one. And I think at that point is where I got a little bit more about Bali and about how it works and about this surrendering and about feeling it, right? And acknowledging what it is and being part of it and not trying to change it. Literally just let it come to you, right? And see what comes up. So in there somewhere, my brother Mason is an answer. Thank you for the question, my brother. Appreciate it. Now, does anyone have any maybe the last question, and then we'll let Erawan go? Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. I was waiting for you, my brother.
Well, I can ask way too many questions, but just to make it easier for everyone here, if people want to get involved in some of your movements, what you're doing with plastic exchange, with SOS, some of what you're doing now with recycling, and how could people potentially contribute more to Kerambitan, Tabanan, or maybe through you contribute to Bali itself?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, we have a committee now. We have a committee. Yeah? So plastic exchange, we have the foundation, and also mine foundation. We have a foundation. So you can contribute to each foundation, which one you like, for plastic exchange or for renovation, and also for social activities, like we giving the food to the people. Then you send us, to our foundation. Yeah, thank you, Gil.
Yeah, brother Gil. And mate, it's funny. So that was Gil, by the way. And when we spoke a while ago, right? And Gil's a great guy, mentor of mine. I think a mentor of his. We co-mentoring. It was funny because one of the questions that he mentioned was, how can I contribute? So I was going to say that afterwards, and you say it now. No, but it's cool. I'm good with it. So basically, to that question as well. So we obviously here Speak Up Monday. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and the usual places. We're happy if you have a question as well to maybe ask us, and we can pass on the details. As I mentioned before, Erawan's email is on this Facebook event, and I believe that's also on the Instagram page. So feel free to go there and to get the information. And just a few things about what the question was, or the observation. So plastic exchange, incredible, innovative initiative started by Janur, I think another guy you introduced me to, who's been on this show. Impeccable, incredible, beautiful human being. Nice bald head, love that. And so this is a great way to retrain the habits around our use of plastic and over time to ensure that not only do we take the plastic out of the ocean, off the street, but even in our homes, we get better at the plastic that we do use, if we do use any, to be sorted and organized in such a way that it can be recycled.
Right.
At the same time, creating a way, what's it called? The word is right there, barter of sorts.
Yeah.
Where by bringing in this plastic that then goes to be recycled, then in return for that, then the villagers or whoever's can receive things which are important to them. At the moment, it can be rice, but in the future, that may change to things which are more appreciated and needed at that time. That's one of the many initiatives which are going on here in Bali and Indonesia. Scholars of Sustenance is another one. We had the founder, Bo Holmgreen, on the show, maybe 5-6 weeks ago. Another incredible human being. And part of the show, as you mentioned before, is about highlighting why it's called Destination Indonesia Speak Up Monday. It's for people in Indonesia, but for those outside of Indonesia who are wondering, what is Bali about? What is Indonesia about? To get an idea of why this place is so special, right? And so having you here tonight, Erawan, has been an enormous pleasure. It's kind of closed a circle. You know, we'll open up another one, but it's kind of closed a circle, right? Episode number 113, 116, as Gil guessed earlier on. You know, like it's been an absolute pleasure. But there's one more thing left that I'd love you to do.
Yes.
Before acknowledging you for being an incredible human being that I've come to know a little bit more and love from the beginning, pretty much. Thank you for sharing your heart with us and spending the time. And you know what? My Bahasa is not good. And you've conducted this whole interview in a language that is not your own, right? I just want to acknowledge you for having the courage to actually do that in front of people that maybe you don't know. And so I just want to acknowledge you for that. And finally, so the way that we close the show is that we ask our guest, which is you today, to maybe spend as long as you're drawn to, could be 30 seconds, could be a minute, could be longer. Maybe there's something that you would like to reinforce for people, or perhaps it's something which, you know what, I really wanted to say that, and I haven't got the chance to say it yet. Or it might be something that just drops into your mind, all right? Yeah. And I'll give you a moment to finish with that, give you about a minute or so to think about what that might be for you, and then we'll close the show afterwards, all right? Okay, so while you're thinking about that, so to you who are watching here, and here, just want to thank you again for being part of this Speak Up Monday journey, which started over 2 years ago now in a strange twist of fate, which worked in our favor. I won't go into what it was, that's for another show. And just remember, so we're here every Monday. I just want to thank Tropical Nomad, Itchy, Bella, Guzman and the team. Like, we can't really do this without them. And this whole episode has been about collaboration. And this collaboration is so solid. We've done the last 52 episodes here. And I want it to go on forever. These guys are amazing. And we keep getting better and better and better. So thank you, Tropical Nomad. Thanks again to my brothers at the Tomorrow Group. You guys rock. Jocko, Mark, respect and thanks. And next week we will have another incredible guest, so please check us out on a different Instagram, Facebook. Join the Facebook group actually. Speak Up Monday. Speak Up is one word. Monday group on Facebook. Join that, and we look forward to maybe having you here as a guest. Just reach out to me. And lastly, the studio audience that we have here, we're outside in the garden tonight, which is beautiful, right? Yeah, there you go. Oh, there you go. There's a few voices there. That's good, right? So it's a beautiful place. Oh, we're in the podcast room here. Come and join us. It's a free event. We don't charge for this because we want you to get value that makes you feel good and allow you the next day to move on in your life in a powerful, positive way. So, thank you, my brothers and sisters. I will now hand over to you, my brother Erawan. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
And please, thank you. And whatever you feel like closing with.
Yes. So thank you very much once again. So we hope we keep on this Speak Up Monday. Speak Up Monday. And it is, we hope also Balinese, we also watching this event, this interview, and it will be, we hope it is will be useful for them. As you know, as I always said, act local, think global. So in globally, they have to understand what is going on, what is pandemic is. So this is step by step they getting more understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.